My 17F boyfriend, 19M, is verbally abusive when drunk, but he's a perfect boyfriend sober. My boyfriend and I go to the same university overseas from our home country, so we live together. Our parents are very good friends, and we've known each other from middle school, so it's pretty fine. Living with my boyfriend has made me realize that he is a perfect guy, but only when he's sober. He never hits me or hurts me, but he is very verbally abusive when he is drunk. He yells and screams, calls me names, threatens me, and we had the downstairs neighbor call the cops once because they were sure he was beating me. He never puts his hands on me, never. He gets drunk like this once or twice, sometimes once a week, a month, and I learned to get over it. I would mix all his alcohol, bottled ones, with water, hide them, pretend to forget to buy them so I can avoid it. He's perfect, literally the man of my dreams, someone I can see myself marrying, only when he's not drunk. He's like a whole other person, and he doesn't get drunk often. I get worried whenever he even touches alcohol, and it's making me paranoid 24/7. He always apologizes when he gets sober, and there are times he'll go months without drinking. Then he'll slip back into his usual twice a month of going nuts again. He refuses to acknowledge his problem, go get help, but he's so perfect sober. I love him so much I don't know what to do about him. What do I do? Any advice? My boyfriend is verbally abusive. There, fixed the title. Okay, if he can't handle his alcohol he should not have any. But also, do you really want to be with that guy when you are 17? You can do better at that age. You don't have to settle for anyone yet. He is not the perfect boyfriend. When he drinks he gets nasty, and this is why. Alcohol lowers inhibitions but also lowers the desire to filter what we say and do. Therefore, we say and do what we are really thinking and feeling while inebriated. It removes people's filters. Your boyfriend is holding some deep resentment about you or your situation. It is coming out when he drinks. He keeps his nastiness under check when he is sober, but it is there. He is not good for you. He is not perfect. If he was perfect he would treat you correctly all the time, not just when he is sober. He is a time bomb and he will eventually assault you. It will go the same way as his behavior when he is drunk. He will apologize, be remorseful, and it will happen again, and again, and again. The only way your boyfriend could be the victim here is if he were physically forced to consume alcohol. If he chooses to drink, it means that he makes the conscious decision that drinking alcohol is more important to him than not abusing you. It's up to you to decide whether you accept that or not. When I was like 10 years old, my grandmother told me to never marry a man till you have seen what he is like after he has been drinking. He is far from perfect while sober. He may only treat you bad when drunk, but the decision to get drunk is a sober one. He knows how it's going to end up when he starts drinking and still chooses. If he won't stop drinking, you stop having a boyfriend. Advice for all ages at 17: don't try to make it work. Just find the next one. Linguistic violence is violence. In many cases this leads to physical violence because over a longer period of time the psychological inhibitions become weaker and weaker. Many women then have a violent offender as a partner after a few years. So he has an alcohol problem because he gets so drunk that he loses control. He has a violence problem because he then acts in this way. If I were you, I would take both problems really seriously. You should never accept his behavior and make it a habit. His behavior is an absolute no-go for a long-term, good relationship. This problem means relationship work for both of you. Unfortunately, it won't disappear by itself. Hun, getting drunk twice a month is very often. Please don't ignore the red flags. Well, he's not the perfect man, nor is he the man of your dreams. Doesn't matter sober or not. Is this really how you want to spend the rest of your life? If he was a great man, he would stop drinking knowing alcohol turned him into this other abusive person. He's consciously deciding to drink. If he is actually a good guy when he is sober, he should understand that him getting drunk makes him a horrible person that is hurting you. He shouldn't want to get drunk anymore. Have you talked to him when he is sober, not just after getting drunk, but just randomly, how this makes you feel? Alcohol only removes inhibitions. It doesn't magically make someone do or say things the drinker hasn't thought of before while sober. All it does is give him the courage to say it out loud. He is not perfect sober, because he knows what does when drunk, and still chooses to take that first drink. He doesn't acknowledge the problem, because you accept his behavior, by not letting there be any consequences. Do not put up with his shit. Tell your parents. They are responsible for you, and could get in trouble if something happens to you, as long as you are a minor. And do not water down the alcohol. That could get him sick, and it could be considered food tampering. If you keep doing it, at least sterilize the water. But you shouldn't keep doing it, because you should leave if he doesn't stop. So, he's not a perfect boyfriend then. He gets drunk and becomes abusive. How long until he becomes physically abusive? He's only 19. Just because he's never crossed that line doesn't mean he never will. You're 17, and you have a long, hopefully happy life ahead of you. You still have plenty of time to find someone who treated you with dignity. My advice is break up with the abusive boyfriend, and find someone that isn't abusive. You are getting used, know your worth and fuck off from that motherfucker. Here's some advice. Get out of it now. That is just like my father. Nice bloke when sober but utter arsehole when has a drink. Made my mother's life a misery. Your boyfriend is abusive. You're young. Get out now before it escalates into him hitting you. You gotta know we all will tell you to leave. Everyone is perfect except for their evil side. This guy is abusing you. Apologies mean nothing without action. Being drunk is no excuse. If he's shitty drunk, then get rid of him. Plenty of people aren't abusive when they drink. I dated a woman once who was the nicest caring partner when sober, and when she drank she was verbally abusive and just mean. I let it go. I tried to get her to stop drinking. I started leaving the house when she drank, but she would call and blow up my phone saying horrible stuff. I dreaded seeing her drink or seeing a bottle, so I left her. She tried for a year to get me back with lies, but I know what I can handle and what I deserve. Can you handle seeing him like this for the rest of your life? Can you handle it getting worse? What is your life worth to you? He is 19 and already exhibiting this behavior. Girl, run. You are 17. 17. You have so much more to experience, and there are so many men out there who do not act like this and would never make you question. This is very alarming behavior, and if you tolerate this, it is just showing him that you are willing to tolerate disrespect. What's next? Cheating. Girl, this is abuse. If he knows he acts like this while drunk and then makes the decision to get drunk, he is choosing to abuse you. Unless he wants to give up drinking and abusing you, you deserve better and should get out of there. If he refuses to stop drinking, you need to leave or get comfortable with living in fear. This won't get better. Then the drinking needs to stop, or you need to exit. Anecdote: my ex-girlfriend was so much fun when she was sober. She was amazing, kind, caring, and a pleasure to be around. However, when she got drunk she became promiscuous, hitting on other guys, hanging around other guys at a bar, etc. I told her I couldn't deal with that sort of insecurity anymore and that I'd like the behavior to stop. She assured me I had nothing to worry about. 2 weeks later I found out she slept with one of them. You are absolutely valid to be concerned about this issue, and I would encourage you to remain firm here. It needs to stop, or you need to leave. Some people can handle their liquor, some people can't handle their liquor. Recognizing where you fall on that spectrum is part of life. I have a friend who gets very hostile and violent from drinking dark liquors. When we told her it was either the friendships or her booze, she stopped drinking. A while down the road she drank these giant canned fruity drinks, and ended up drunk, but they didn't trigger her violence for some reason. It's only when she drinks dark liquors that she gets that way. Maybe even suggest he stay away from liquor and try beer when he drinks. I know it's not as great as entirely stopping, but if it turns it down or off, then maybe you can handle him better when he is drunk. Personally, I'd demand my man to stop drinking, or I'd record him and play it to him during sobriety, and that in itself would be enough for him to feel the same disgust in himself that the stuff he said made me feel. There is only path forward in which that relationship survives. It's that he recognizes he has a problem and seeks real professional help for it. Otherwise, run. You're 17 and you're already finding ways behind his back to protect yourself from him. You don't deserve that. If he were the perfect boyfriend, you wouldn't be here asking advice. He's not perfect, no one is. You are 17, you need to step away from this. You can't fix him, only he can, and he needs to acknowledge he has a major, lifelong problem before he can start to adjust his life. Walk away. For your own mental and physical health. Yes, he might never lay a finger on you in anger, but the stress can mess you up for a lifetime. I am a poster child for this. Walk away, please. Aren't most people verbally abusive when drunk? You're too young to settle for that bullshit. Get your head on straight and go find a guy who will actually respect you, both drunk and sober. Leave him. In every country I've lived in, the age of consumption is lower than US 21, lived in Germany 18, spirits 16, beers 14, wines and Portugal 18. In any of these countries you are an adult at 18. He is an adult and should behave and conduct himself as one. If he's a mean drunk, trust your gut and everyone in the comments. It won't take long before he won't need the drink to be mean without it. The fact you need to say again and again that he is perfect when sober, to me shows that you are in a honeymoon phase with an abuser. It doesn't matter that the honeymoon phase is longer than the abusing phase, it's still him making up for his abuse so you won't leave. And I don't know what he's waiting for to show his true colors while sober. But it can only get worse if either he doesn't get help or you don't leave. The good news is you are both young and he can change, but first he needs to take responsibility and get the help he needs. This breaks my heart to read. I understand it is a confusing situation to be in, like a roller coaster. However, from my own personal experience with people like this, it will be a cycle that never breaks, and typically gets worse with age. My advice would be to get out of this relationship. You do not want to marry a man who is verbally abusive ever. Even if he's an angel when sober. Saying he is good to you the majority of the time is a ratioali that every victim of abuse uses. I hope you can escape this and I send my support. Okay. I have drinking problem, I know it, and right now looking for professional help, mostly because when I drink I'm an asshole with my so. But what you have written is far above my problem. Your neighbors called the cops for the fuck sake. But that's not the biggest issue here. It's you hiding the bottles. You know the problem, you afraid from it, you try to avoid it like you have been married for 10 to 20 years and he would hit you when he drinks. This sounds like your future right now. You should make an intervention with friends to stop him and look for professional help. It's not a relationship issue, it's far more. You shouldn't stay there, but if you stay you have to make an intervention. Get out of the relationship while you still have a semblance of respect for each other. Out of the overflow of the heart, so does the mouth speak. Well, I am not sure that I agree with all the other posters. He is nice when sober, but is an asshole to you when he drinks. So what? That seems pretty normal. If it bothers you that he is an asshole when he drinks around you, then the answer what to do is easy. Don't be around him when he drinks. Tell him to go out drinking with his buddies instead of being stuck at home. He'll have more fun with his drinking buddies anyway, and won't hurt you by being abusive to you. Drunk words are sober thoughts. My father started out verbally abusive when he drank a couple times a week. And my mom made excuses. My father was also a great guy when sober. He was a good dad to my older sister while sober. Then one day he drank too much and broke both of her knees and bruised some ribs. He went to jail. Got out, and my mom went back to him. Because he was a good guy. While sober. Then my mom got pregnant with me. My father drank more because he couldn't get a job. And he almost killed my pregnant mother. Strangled her until she saw white. She finally packed up and left. I don't think I would be here if she had stayed. Please. Don't let it get to that point. You have to know that this isn't right, or you wouldn't be posting. You see the red flags. Don't ignore them. If he doesn't even acknowledge this as an issue, then he definitely is nowhere near ready to get help, so nothing will change. This is how abuse starts. You are saying he isn't hitting you now, but he will. Quit worrying about when he's perfect. If you are paranoid 24/7, that isn't normal or healthy. You're young, get out while you can. This is the easy time to leave. If you continue this relationship, get married, have kids, etc., it will be so much harder to leave. Don't just take everyone's word for it. Go to your family, friends, people who care about you, they'll tell you the same thing. You are too young to let a perfect guy verbally degrade you. There's another who will be more perfect than him without the abuse. Trust me. Teenagers think everything is novel. This situation here, for example, is the most textbook and common case of abusive relationship I can think of. No. Don't get sucked in. Anyone can be a decent person some of the time. It takes a good person to be good the whole time. You say that now, he wouldn't hurt you, but trust me, it escalates from verbal abuse to emotional abuse to physical abuse. Let me give you some advice. I've given this advice to random guys, my partner, and anyone dumb enough to get blackout drunk. If you can't hold your liquor, stop drinking. Any repeat after that resulted in me cutting them out of my life. It's pretty nice. He's 19 with a drinking problem. And it is a drinking problem. Binge drinking and becoming uncontrollable or aggressive when drunk is as much as a problem as being an alcoholic. Imagine what he will be like when life is actually hard. He has a beer gut, mortgage, couple of kids. Listen up. I'm a 20-year-old guy and lived with an alcoholic father for 18 years. I can guarantee you two things. Firstly, if he doesn't find help it will eventually escalate. And secondly, he has to find help now because if he waits too long things will only be harder and worse for both of you. I recommend you to tell him to find help and soon or otherwise you should leave. Drunken words are sober thoughts. So if he's the perfect guy, let's say you guys marry and have kids. How are you going to be able to call him a good father when he gets drunk and damages your child for life because of his drunkenness? Because guess what? He isn't going to change. If he would change for you, he would have already done it. It will escalate to physical abuse. I was in a verbally and mentally abusive relationship for years and I never thought he'd get physical with me, yet he did. Also, if he cannot control his drinking and he cannot control his temper when he drinks, he is not the perfect guy. Please think about this and try to take it to heart. I was 15 when I got together with the guy the first mentioned and I was too young and naive to see him for what he was, abusive, for a long time. Please don't waste years of your life coming to this realization. This was me when I drank. I'm the nicest person in the world but became nasty when I was drunk. I lost relationships and hurt people and when I saw it happening again in my current relationship I quit. It took my boyfriend breaking up with me and going on a downward spiral followed by an intervention. But I got sober, my boyfriend and I got back together, and we are now married with a baby on the way. I suggest you boyfriend get sober. If the behavior continues and he is unwilling to do anything to fix it then you need to leave him. His abusive behavior will just get worse as his drinking increases. Sober him is choosing to become drunk him. This means that sober him is willing to put himself in a situation where he abuses you.